right, so let me weigh in on the Mamdani thing. So everybody's all worked the fuck up because in New York, what looks like a socialist, Mamdani, an Islamist socialist, so a foreign-born Islamist socialist who has been a citizen for 7 years, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on the exact amount of time, but I think it's 7 years. Has now won the primary election for the Democrats in New York. And suddenly, like, everyone is losing their shit. Like, even Democrats are like, whoa, this motherfucker is crazy, right? He's crazy motherfucker. This dude wants government-run grocery stores. I'm sure some of these Democrats are already seeing their positions as administrators or bureaucrats or some shit being changed to, okay, now you've got to sit at the cash register at the government-run grocery store. Look, I think this is both hilarious and a bit scary at the same time, but it's also insane, actually. You know what I'm saying? If you look at it, it's insane. First of all, what's really okay? It's going to be hard to like block this all into the different subjects about this I want to talk about. Let's start from here. So a Republican from, I think, Tennessee is now calling for Mamdani's revocation of his citizenship and deportation out of the country. And of course, the only time Republicans seem to ever get riled up and want to use the power of the law in a way that might piss a lot of people off. The only times they ever want to do that is when they are doing it in defense of Israel. It seems like, and I'm not trying to say that they're all like this or whatever, but it just looks, the pattern is there. Its pattern is clear because this Republican senator, I forgot what it was, Ogle or something like that. I think it's Ogle, Andy Ogle, could that be? Fact check me on it. Anyway, he is not in New York. He's not representing the citizens of New York. He's either a senator or a congressman from Tennessee. And now he is calling for Pam Bondi to investigate Mamdani. And the first thing he says about Mamdani is he is an anti-Semitic, blah, 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 right? So, yeah. Well, look, I'm sorry. As much as the dude from Tennessee may not like to hear this, and probably a lot of people won't like to hear this, but the fact is, anyone being anti-Semitic is not illegal. You don't have to be pro-Semitic, right? To be in America, to be an American. Not yet. I mean, if the Republicans get their way, you might have to be, right? But I think that this is crazy. It's every time the Republicans, we're going to deport people and we're going to do shit that other people won't like and blah, blah, blah. It's all in the name of what Israel seems to want. Now, I know that sounds hyperbolic and that a lot of people are saying that and everybody's like, well, that's crazy. If we don't take our foreign policy cues from Israel and blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not saying all that, right? What I'm saying is just this. The pattern of Republican behavior when it comes to actually wielding power against what they perceive as an enemy, right? Which they don't do with Democrats, which they don't do with their own, right? They're not real fighters, right? They're not really, doing much Congress, right? Or the Senate. So, and the only times Republicans seem to want to wield power is when it's in the name of Israel. So they want to deport people for writing op-eds, which is crazy to me. That's crazy. But legally they can find a way to do it. So they're going to try to do it. So they deport somebody for writing an op-ed, right? Because it's pro-Hamas propaganda or some fucking bullshit, which is insane if you're talking about America, right? It's insane, right? But that's the only time they push the envelope of the law is when it comes to some sort of defense of Israel or anti-Semitic bullshit. So, and okay, he cites a bunch of other reasons in his tweet or his X post or whatever the fuck you want to call it. He cites some other reason in there, right? He's like, the dude wrote rap songs about pro-Hamas and some terrorist group in America that was in jail, or there's no real concrete shit, you know what I'm saying? But as we know, if the government wants to find a way to get rid of somebody like this, they can find a way legally. and justify it. They always do. They always have. The whole justice system is based on that. We like to think the justice system is completely fair and everybody follows the rules, but we all know that's complete BS. That's not the way it works. It should work like that. It just doesn't, right? So prosecutors and government people always, if they really want somebody, they're going to find a way to get that person, right? Let's take Julian Assange, for example. Julian Assange has complete journalistic freedom like everybody else. He's a journalist, right? But he revealed something that the American government really didn't fucking like. And suddenly, he's not a journalist. WikiLeaks is not a legal, and you're not allowed to look at it if you're an American citizen. You can't look at it. Chris Cuomo on CNN said, "Oh, you guys can't look at WikiLeaks. I'll have to tell you what it says because I'm Chris Cuomo." Total bullshit, okay? Total bullshit. But suddenly the rules change, right? Suddenly, journalistic freedom for everybody except Julian Assange because he's a terrorist, because he put something out that we didn't like, right? So that is just one example, right, of how America and the justice system and politicians and the people with power always change the rules around when it suits them. So they could do that in the case of Mamdani because, if they can, basically they can figure, there are reasons to revoke people's citizenship, and he probably does fall in those categories, right? But why don't we look at what the reason, why do we suddenly have to get rid of this dude, right? Because he was never a problem before, right? And he's been in politics for a while now. They never saw him as a problem before, but now he's got power, right, in New York. So why does a Tennessee senator give a fuck, right? Well, because he's anti-Semitic. And this Tennessee senator, I will bet you money, right? I don't know, because I don't know the senator, but I'll bet you money that he takes AIPAC money, right? I bet he does, right? And if he doesn't, maybe he's got the same reason for protecting Israel as Ted Cruz does, which is, well, they give me money and the Bible told me to do it. Okay, Ted. So anyway, obviously, since the first thing the guy says about Mamdani is, well, he's an anti-Semite and communist and blah, blah, blah. Look, being a communist in America is still illegal. Those laws are still there. Now, if you can prove that the dude is a communist, because he's never going to say he's a communist. He's going to say, I'm a democratic socialist, which is what the people in Europe also say, right? They just throw the democratic word in there. They're like, oh, well, let's throw in democratic so people go, well, they're not socialists, they're democratic socialists. That's something different. No, dude, it's not different. It's the same fucking thing, which that's a little fucking fake ass cherry on top to make you think that it's democracy. It's not democracy. Socialism hasn't worked anywhere, and it won't work in any free country or any democratic country either, because socialism is going to require, as a prerequisite, authoritarian, totalitarian control over the population in order to even start making it work. And it never did before, even with the authoritarian control. So if you think you're going to get socialism done or communism done in a democratic country, forget about it. That you're not going to get enough people to go along with it, right? Unless you force them with authoritarian measures, which is what always has had to happen in the past every time socialism or communism is tried. So, is the problem here that Mamdani is a socialist and now suddenly might have power as mayor of New York? Yeah, that is a problem. Right? That is a problem. But that's New York's fucking problem, you see? Because America has allowed the liberalism to go overboard, and so they are allowing foreign-born people to participate in their political, governmental power game. So what they're doing is they're allowing people with foreign ideologies to get into positions of power where they can change the foundation of what American life is like, right? And okay, that is free. That's free and democratic. If the people of New York want socialism, let them fucking have it. You know what I mean? Because it's not, and the reason I say that is because the reason why people like this dude are getting elected is because socialism seems to them, it sounds so good to stupid fucking people, right? And so it's working for them, right? But once those people experience what socialism is like, and it's okay to let New York experiment in this case because it's a secluded area in the sense that people can still leave New York. It's not like they're going to fucking build a wall around New York and trap those people in there. Once New York starts going down the shitter with its fucking government-run grocery stores and free healthcare, where the fuck are they? People are not going to want to pay their tax money to New York to pay for other people's childcare or healthcare. Forget it, but that's not going to happen. They're not going to do it. You already see the rich people of New York going, okay, well, if this dude gets elected, we're fucking gone. Okay? You already see it. So let them have their socialist utopia. So that can be a lesson to everybody that this shit still doesn't work. It doesn't matter who does it. Blah, blah, blah. Right? But after that experiment is done, I would say America should make dramatic changes to this liberal idea that it owes everybody in the world a seat at the table of power somewhere just because they live in the country, right? I'm a person that believes that ideology has no place in policy making at all. None. No ideology. Not Christianity, not Catholicism, not Islamism, not fucking socialism. None of that shit. None of those isms. You know what I mean? Okay, capitalism, I guess. Yeah, what am I going to say? Capitalism is the system that the Western world has chosen, right? The Western world basically agrees overall, while capitalism isn't a perfect system by far, it is the system we want, right? Until a better one comes along. Every country that has made that agreement, right, that wants to be a democratic republic or a democracy of some sort that runs under a capitalist system, every country that has agreed to that should make rules and laws, right? Should make rules and laws that politicians, lawmakers, people in positions of power cannot be put there in order to thwart that system, right? Why would you let, because of your freedom and your liberalism, why would you let somebody that doesn't share your values come in and change the rules for you and everybody else? That seems dumb to me, right? And it has nothing to do with racism. It has to do with just logic. If I let people in my house that don't share my values, but they need a place to live, right? Then I say, cool, you can stay on my couch or stay in the spare room. These are the rules in my house, right? And then I don't eventually give them a seat at the table of power over what happens in my house. No, it's my house. I decide, and if you don't like it, you can get the fuck out. Pretty simple. And I think that should be done on a countrywide level as well. You are welcome if you want to live in the country, contribute to the country, contribute to the economy, be a good member of our society, and you can do all that and be free and have freedom of speech and freedom to own guns and blah, 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 or well, yeah, if you become a citizen, you can own guns. All the things, you get to enjoy all the freedoms. But you cannot implement your politics into our political system. You cannot, if you are not a born citizen of the United States, you cannot be put in a position of political power. You can't be voted in, you can't run. That's it. End of story. But that's racist and that's unequal and it's unfair. Okay, well, either you're gonna fucking protect your system or you're not. Some choices are just binary. I'm sorry. Life is left, right, left, right. Every minute of every day, you're making choices one way or the other. You can't ever just go, well, I'm not going to choose. I'm just going to sit there. I'm just not going to do. I'm going to wait till I see some sort of signal or sign that what. No. Life is full of choices. You have to make the choices. That's the game, right? The only way to avoid making choices all day, every day, is to put a fucking bullet in your head and call it quits. Otherwise, you're in the choice-making game all day, every day, unless you're asleep, right? And even then, in your dreams, you're making choices. You know what I mean? You can't get away from it. So the choice is you either be liberal and let everybody into the country and you let them get into every position you want. And it's the same argument I was making about China the other day. You know what I mean? Is China an enemy or not? Right? If they're an enemy, then you don't educate their children. You don't let them come here and buy businesses. You don't let them come here and buy farmland and all that shit. You don't do that. If they're really an enemy, that's not a thing. So I think they're really not that big of an enemy. Simple as that. You know what I'm saying? And so if you want to preserve your way of life in a country, you don't let foreigners that have a different value system infiltrate your whole political system. Look how many of these activist judges that we see news about every day, look how many of those people are foreign citizens, like they're foreign born, you know what I mean? Or maybe they're born in America, but maybe they're foreigners, you see what I'm saying? But a lot of them have weird last names and look totally different than Americans, and you know what I mean? And then I'm like, okay, well, how do these people get here? You know, because now we're seeing that it's a fucking problem. And now they're seeing, oh shit, in New York, this could become a problem. Okay? And I think it's hilarious because these New York fucking people deserve this shit. Let them fucking have it. Let them have it. Don't try to kick this dude out on fucking just pretenses that you could just make up as a government because he's anti-Semitic. That's fucking stupid. You know what I'm saying? That's fucking stupid. No. Let them have their socialism shit. Right? Hey, look, you know what would be fucking awesome? You know what would be great? If by some magician's trick, this fucking dude makes that socialism shit work. Right? And people are fat and happy in New York City, living off free healthcare, free fucking groceries, everything's chill, everybody's got the house they want, you know, no inequality, and everybody loves it. Look, dude, if it works, great. Then we were wrong. Okay, then we were wrong. I just don't think that's the way it's going to turn out. I think what's going to happen is this dude is going to single-handedly, if he gets any of this shit done, which is going to be a big hurdle to begin with, right? But if he gets any of this shit done, he's going to turn New York into a fucking shithole, like San Francisco, or like San Francisco, or basically LA or the state of California as a whole. You know what I mean? I mean, there's probably nice places to live in California too. I get that, but. Let him do it. Let him fuck the whole place up. Let these people of New York finally wake up and go, because that's the only way to get these ideologues and these leftist morons out of their fucking, bubble, is to make life hurt. These people have to face reality. They've been able to avoid reality up till now, but eventually reality wins. It's going to come knocking, and they're going to have to face it at some point. It's just no other way to do it. So let him do it. Let the socialist crazy man get some fucking government-run grocery stores up in that bitch. No problem. Okay? No problem. So, but after that's done, then if I were American policymakers, right, then I would seriously start, and also Europeans, for example, because look what's happening in England. I mean, they've already got Islamist fucking politicians, right? Motherfuckers running around the fucking parliament wearing turbans and shit. And I'm not making fun of that. Hey, that's cool. Do your thing. You just can't be in politics trying to change the system from within in a country that knows you're trying to change the system from within. That's a country that is weak. A country that allows people to come into their country and change the system from within is a weak country. If they don't know it's happening, that's a different story. They know it's happening. Right? It's happening in New York right now. That would be a problem if that was on a wide scale. Imagine that being on the presidential scale. Imagine you get a communist that masquerades as a socialist, but then can't be really a socialist either because people are like that. So then masquerades as a Democrat socialist, like AOC and Bernie Sanders and all these fucking people. So they masquerade as one of them, but they're really a communist, and they get into the presidency, right? Imagine that shit, right? Wow, then you're really fucked. So you have got to build safeguards into your political system so that it can't be changed to another political system, right? Unless the country somehow wants it. So if the country decides, hey, you know what? 90% of the people agree, let's give socialism a try, right? Then you can change it, maybe. Even then there should be real big hurdles. But you certainly don't drop all the fucking fences to let foreign-born people with foreign ideologies come in to change the system completely. That's dumb. And you also should start considering that you should make laws and safeguards that ideologies can also not run the political system, right? And I know everyone's going to go, well, yeah, but what's an ideology? Christianity is an ideology. Yes, it is. And what I mean by that is that politicians, lawmakers, and people within positions of power cannot make decisions based on their ideology alone, right? But they must make decisions based on reality and the interest of the population first and foremost. So basically what I'm saying is people have to separate their ideologies from their political career if they are policymakers and lawmakers. And if they can't do that, there has to be a way to get rid of them, right? There has to be a way to get rid of them. Because what we're doing now is we're basically just playing a game of ping pong. That for 4 years it's like this, and for 4 years it's like that, and then for 4 years it's like this, and then for 4 years like that. And it just constantly, people don't want to settle on, okay, this works, right? No, they want to just keep fucking changing it back and forth to other things and new things and this, that. No, find a system that works and stick to it. Be like a business. If you're a government, be like a business, right? The interest of the employees, profit, the company, that's what you're basically looking for. And that's how a fucking government should be run. Not based on ideology. Now, I know people are going to say, well, businesses have ideology. Yes, they have ideologies, but you also see, right, that their ideology changes as the market changes, right? Because before Trump, the businesses all had the trans ideology, and then Trump comes in and they're like, fuck that shit, we're out. No pride parade shit, no fucking tuck swimsuits, we're done. That ideology, squash, because their main ideology is the welfare of the company. And if your ideology is the well-being of the United States, its citizens, its taxpayers, and its security, then cool. That's the only ideology, right? Then you call anything an ideology. What I'm basically saying is religions, all religions and shit should not have a place in politics as far as policy making is going. Because I see a lot of Christians, I see a lot of Christians out there, podcasters and people that I really like, that are now also saying shit like, Vinny from the PBD podcast, he said some shit. I was like, what the fuck is this dude talking about? He's like, well, I think you can't be in politics. From now on, I think America should make it that you can't be a president or in politics unless you're Christian. I was like, whoa, fuck no. We want to get away from that shit. We want to get away from woo-woo and into reality, because that's where we have to make our decisions, in reality. What is actually happening? That's all that matters, right? What could happen, what should happen, what would happen, that doesn't matter. You have to solve for what is happening right fucking now. Okay? So, I don't know, man. America has got themselves in a tricky situation thanks to this uber liberalism shit. And they're not the only ones. We're all in the same boat, right? And Europe's got it way worse. Europe's got it way worse than America does. You guys could still turn this around before people from all over the world come in and start changing your country completely, right? Europe's going to sit there and allow itself to be overtaken. America doesn't have to do the same thing. So I would say the politicians need to get some balls. The people need to be able to be willing to make some hard decisions, because it's going to be tough, like excluding people. You know, how do you fucking do it? Well, and there's all kinds of people foreign born in government right now. Yes, you let them run their term, right? And then that's the end. Then only American citizens. That's one of that's it. And will that safeguard it completely? No, of course not. You could still have American citizens that are secretly adherent to some sort of ideology and want to change the whole world and shit, but they will be exposed as soon as they get into public office, right? So the fact is, you don't let foreign-born people into your politics and into positions of power who can then fundamentally change the fabric of a country, a society, a city, whatever. That is dumb. It's time to start thinking about what to do to fix that problem. And deporting Mamdani is not it. That's going to make it look really bad for the Republicans, right? That would be a stupid fucking thing to do. If you do that, then you're going to get a lot of people that are not going to agree. I don't agree. Now, I know you can find a legal reason to do it, and the only time you're willing to, find loopholes in the law or stretch the law to its limits or boundaries is when you don't have to do it to Democrat politicians or Democrats of the left or people from the Biden administration or Fauci or any of the number of people that should be facing this same sort of scrutiny as Mamdani is and could be, but are not being followed by Republicans, because Republicans are weaklings, right? Unless it comes to protecting Israel is what it looks like, right? And yes, I'm being a little sarcastic, and yes, I'm being purposely goading these people because they are acting like this. This is what it looks like. If they were this hard on some of these Democrat corrupt motherfuckers that they should be going after from the last 10 years, right? Then I'd be like, okay, I get it. You know what I'm saying? But they're only this hard on people they perceive as hating Israel, right? Yeah, that's just the facts. I'm sorry. What can I do? Can't change it. They have to change it. Anyway, guys, I hope this Mamdani thing is going to be a lesson for the people that are in the position to take a lesson from it. And New York, please elect this dude. Please, let him win. Because I'm going to have my popcorn ready and watch the city fucking burn. So you people learn a fucking lesson that obviously you need to learn the hard way. That's all I got. See you guys later.